with Beard! Hey, podcast kittens, it's Cathy Cat and...
Oh, Ladybeard, coming at you with another knob-switching edition of Cat with Beard! Did I just turn off the microphone several times? Did I turn this off several times when I switched this knob? I ruined Christmas? I ruined the broadcast? No, it's a fake knob. It's not even a knob that does anything.
Oh, right, okay.
It does have a light, so, you know.
I think something happened. He did twitch over there.
He did move, so yeah, that's right.
Something.
Ladybeard's ruined Christmas again. That's what I do.
He turned one of us off. Anyway.
This kind of looks like something that would be on the Ultraman set, doesn't it?
Yeah,
100%.
That when you thrust that forward, it launches you out into space, something like that. Yeah,
100%.
Yes. And today's episode is all about Ultraman and your story of Shaun White.
Yes,
and
Shaun White.
This is Shaun Nichols, but he played a man named Shaun White. How does
and
a
so
white
did
man,
you.
And so did I.
Yes.
That's right. I voiced that
Exactly.
man. For anyone who for some reason didn't listen last time, you should go listen to the last episode.
Go check that out. Yes.
Shaun's an actor. He was in Ultraman Max. I voiced Shaun in that show.
Which is bizarre.
Yeah, it is. It's also incredible.
Yeah, it's
great. So how does a man named Shaun, that is white, get given the character name Shaun White?
Or just starting that whole journey.
Yes.
We literally said, you went there, we went for the audition.
Yeah, so let's go back to the audition. So I'm thinking I'm going to this place with the job in the bag, right? Instead, I walk into a room of 30 other actors, all lined up, ready to go in and do the audition. And I'm like, oh my God, how did this happen? But as we said last time, end of the day, I got the gig. And, well, remember, it was supposed to be a Japanese guy, right? Named Tabata, right? Tabata Tain, right? So the Officer Tabata, or whatever you want to call him. And so suddenly they had to come up with a name. And they're like, okay, well, his name's Shaun. And he's a white man, so Shaun White. Let's do it. Shaun White. Yes.
I love it.
What year was that?
This was 16 years ago, so
but just
do the math. Yeah, I'm not
so
sure.
we're all clear. In the event that you were African American, it would be Shaun Black.
I would have been Shaun Black. Yep.
Yeah, 100%.
All right. Oh, okay. 16 years ago, and then what happened?
You mean
First day on the set? How?
Well,
they changed the name?
Well, yeah, I mean, they changed it, but we did tons of rehearsals. And, you know, in the audition, I was actually there with the other people who were going to be the other parts. So it wasn't like a huge surprise for everyone on the set that like, oh, wait, what's this white guy doing here? But it was kind of cool because there had never been a regular, there had been some foreigners who had appeared time and time on the show. But the first regular starring member of the cast to be a foreigner was me.
That's awesome.
However, I'm also the last one, so I'm not sure if I ruined it for everyone else, so I'm very sorry. If anyone else has ever wanted to be on Ultraman, you could blame me for that.
Makes you unique.
It does, yes.
Sir. Makes you special. Did you feel any level of either positive or negative discrimination as the only foreigner as a permanent cast member?
I thought it was a great sign of Japan being more accepting. I looked at it as that, and I'm like, this is amazing. Wow. This franchise is Japan. You know, it's been around so long. Everyone knows it. Kids know it. Their parents. There's 3 generations who have enjoyed Ultraman together.
In the 50s or something.
Yes,
didn't
yeah.
It?
Wow.
And
longest running show.
Longest running show in the history of the world. So it's amazing.
So, but you're the first and the last foreigner, so that change you felt hasn't kind of
so much for that.
sprouted roots.
But I will say now, you know, as I was saying last time, Tsuburaya Productions is now pushing Ultraman out to everywhere else in the world, and that's great because when I was a kid in the U.S., I got to see Ultraman, so it came on TV the same time my school ended, and I could, if I ran home really fast, I could make it just as the episode was starting.
Cool.
I missed the opening. I missed the opening credits every time, but I could get there, opening credits, commercial break, and then right when it started, I could watch it. So,
young people listening, there was a time when the internet was not a thing.
Yes,
you had to be.
You had to be there to watch something
to make it happen.
Exactly.
How do you feel Ultraman is received by foreign audiences?
Well, I think people need to embrace the quirkiness of the tokusatsu. Remember we talked about tokusatsu last time. It's sort of that, and if you look at it really carefully, it is just a man in a rubber suit.
Yes, it is.
But if you kind of take that step back and sort of allow yourself to be engulfed in this fantasy world, then it's actually really cool. And it has a lot of charm.
Aren't the majority of super characters kind of men in ladies in spandex and suits in a way?
Yes, that's true.
So I guess that kind of like superheroes have that kind of common trait. If you look at the X-Men and all the other American franchises too, it's just generally guys in suits. So I guess suspension of disbelief and we're good to go.
Pro wrestlers too, men in spandex suits.
Spandex suits. So it's a power to everyone in the spandex suits here.
Well, and also, you mentioned last time, a new Ultraman movie has just come out called Shin Ultraman, which is new Ultraman. And there's a lot more CGI than ever before on Ultraman. However, when they did the model for the body, they got the guy who played the original suit actor.
Oh,
That's
wow.
what they call the guy in the suit in the
wow.
original Ultraman. He's 80-something years old now.
Wow.
To actually pose to be the model for the suit. So
Wow.
he's
That's
still the
sweet.
same
build.
thin body that can be Ultraman. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. He's in his
Original.
80s, you reckon?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's a great guy. I've met him before.
What's his name?
His name is Bean Furuya, and he's a
Furuya.
great guy. I've met him multiple times. He's been on that live show that I told you about that we do every month,
Awesome.
and we've been at events together. And when we did the global announcement of Shin Ultraman, he actually came on stage, and we got to address the whole world really together. So that was cool.
He must be legendary, especially
yes.
amongst tokusatsu otakus.
Yeah,
Must be-
everyone knows who he is. He can go to any like anime expo or any of these shows and have lines getting his signature
That's
forever.
awesome.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
original Ultraman.
The original Ultraman.
I'm curious about just your first day on the set.
Oh, yeah. It was it was really cool. I remember being really, really sore. And here's why. Because the week before we started shooting, we did all of this training for acrobatics and because you gotta take a punch and you gotta do rolls and you gotta flip and shoot guns and stuff like that. And when you're like diving and rolling, you're using muscles. I mean, you wrestle, right?
Yeah.
So you know this.
I know the gimmick, yeah.
There's muscles that you use when you are protecting your body as you're doing these falls that you don't really use in normal.
Yes.
There's muscles you don't know you have, and when you use those muscles, they hurt, and they're all these like little connecting muscles.
That's right.
That every time you move, you're like, oh god. So that's my biggest memory of the first day of the shoot was
hilarious.
being sore from doing all that
So
training
you
before.
all got trained then, like
Yeah.
extra
Oh, yeah.
training before the
train
show
to start.
started.
Exactly, yeah, for a week of training.
But are you sorry, Cathy Cat. You're naturally an athletic guy?
Yeah, I think so. From the time I was a kid, I played nearly every sport I could, and baseball, basketball, American football, bowling. Is that a sport? I don't know.
It is now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So therefore, you were competent with your
Exactly.
your body in space already.
And I don't know. We don't want to give away anything here,
give
but
away.
a lot of actors and actresses are not that good at sports. Don't tell anyone, okay?
Cathy Cat, don't tell anyone, all right?
All right. I'll zip.
So this training is really, really important for a lot of the actors because you are the ultimate fighter with either with a gun or with whatever hand-to-hand combat that you're doing as an actor. So you need to look the part, right? So you have to do this training, and if some of them are not so good, and it takes a lot of support.
Work.
Yes.
Your team Dash,
Yes.
Dash being the
Right.
Ultraman team. Within the context of the story, you guys are some level of military. Or
Yeah,
something
yes,
along those
we
lines, right?
we are the what is it? Defense Force, UDF, United Defense Force.
That's right.
And so the reason my background is I came from the North American UDF
That's
to the
right.
Japan
I
UDF
remember.
as a science officer, which I don't know if you remember, but because I'm the science officer, there are some extremely difficult lines that I have to read that have to do with
and that
carbon
in Japanese?
nanotubes
Yep.
and crap
All
like
that.
that. Yeah, and I'm like, oh god.
Ah.
I'm just like, please remember these lines. How am I going to remember them? And yeah, I mean, we had to do a couple takes sometimes, but eventually I got I spit it all out. And
I was going to ask, like, what was kind of the setting of Ultraman Max, so people can kind of, who haven't seen that series, can kind of know what we're talking about right now.
What's going on, right?
Because you guys know it, obviously.
The setting is present day Earth with this sort of futuristic United Defense Force that we have. So we've got all of the highest technology in planes, in guns, and as the science officer, I was constantly inventing new weapons to help fight these monsters. So that was my job. So I had to explain, well, and so did you. I have to explain here's a special canister of gas that will affect the molecules of this monster who came from a helium-based planet. So when you attack this, the helium will join with the carbon nanites and everything will So
doing all those explanations. So, but you were as the science guy, you had to do some fighting.
Oh yeah, of course. So I kind of if it was a very complicated weapon, I would be the one to fire it. If it was something that was easier to control or just an update to someone else's weapons, I would just give it to them and let them do it. Yeah. Yeah, one of the guys was the gunslinger. So he had like 2 guns and he would shoot. So I was always like updating his guns and giving him new ammunition to fight with and things like that too.
And then there was one of the females was a robot.
Yes.
Yep.
Who
Cyborg.
Became the most famous actor in Japan, by the way, Mitsushima Hikari. I don't know if you know her, Hikari-chan. We love you. She was 18 or 19 when we shot that. And, you never want to be like that guy, but I think everyone on set knew there was something special about her.
Is that right?
She was really good. And she's from Okinawa, and she had started as sort of this like unit of like dancing and singing people. And idol. Yeah. So she kind of had this this training, this stage presence. She kind of knew what she was doing. And, with acting, with anything, if you have confidence, that overcomes a lot. If you could just look like you know what you're doing, that's
for the win.
That's 90% of the job right there. And so she was really good at that. And, now she's winning awards as actresses. She's in she was just in that awesome Netflix series. I don't know if you watched it, but yeah, she's one of the best dramatic actors, whatever, either way that we have in Japan right now. So good for her.
Incredible.
So it's not just Ultraman who does the battling. The robots do the battling too. The scientists do some battling. So.
Yeah, well, the robots, she's more of like a cyborg than a robot. Like, I don't want you to think she's like this boxy. She looks like a human, right? And she stays back. She doesn't go out and fight. Only on special occasions. Yeah. She goes into what's called battle mode, which is a little switch she throws. And she goes,
That's
she comes
right.
into battle mode, yeah. But that was great. And so usually we will go out in our planes and try to shoot missiles or something at the monster. Never works. And then the guy, the guy who can turn into Ultraman, it's a secret. He doesn't tell us that he can do it. So he'll like slink off into the corner, and then suddenly Ultraman will appear. And then when his 3 minutes are up, we're all like, his name is Kaito. So we're like, where's Kaito? And then he's like, hey, everybody. And then he comes back. And,
riding a horse.
Yeah, like, where were you? You missed the whole excitement again. For the 40th episode, you've been gone. Well, Ultraman.
Kaito!
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's kind of the Ultraman thing. And if you guys have not seen Ultraman, to the viewers, check it out. Now, we said this last time, but go to ultramanconnection.com and just it's out there for free. You can look at it. You can see it. Just get a taste of what we're talking about. Hopefully, you'll fall in love with it. It's really cool.
Some of the monsters that you had to fight, some of the kaiju that you had to fight the show, some of them got... There were particular points when they seemed to get hilarious at a new dimension.
Yes.
There's one which was a gigantic eyeball with the tail of a cat.
Yes.
And it would spray everybody.
Yeah, it was...
Some straight up dragon looking things, but then other ones were just these weird ones that came out of nowhere.
So that was that famous director named Takeshi Miike, the 3 cats that he did.
My God.
And those cats, they made you forget.
Yes.
Right? And so everyone was like forgetting why they were here.
Yes.
And so in order to change into Ultraman, Kaito, he had to take this it's called a Max Spark, and put it here, and that would call Max into his body. But because of these monsters, he forgot how to do that. Oh. So he's like putting it on his head.
That's right.
He's putting it on his foot. And
that's right.
And he couldn't remember how to change into.
And then when he's Ultraman, he can't remember his pose.
Yeah, he's like
he's doing these weird poses.
Yeah,
it's so funny.
Yeah, super funny.
Oh, very funny.
And that's one of the things about our series, Max, is that it was the 40th. It's at the 40th anniversary because the next one was technically the 40th anniversary, but it was the 40th show, the 40th different series. And it had gotten a little bit dark in the sense of like, let's create more drama and heavy. And it was losing the kids, right? So they were like, okay, we need to bring it back, bring a little levity to this, make some humor, make some comedy, get back to the original Ultraman. So it was kind of a throwback to that. And on our show, we had 2 of the original cast members on our show 40 years later.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so
that's awesome.
Yeah. So the guy on the original show, Kurobe-san, who would turn into Ultraman, he was on our show, and then Sakurai-san, which was the heroine, the female, was also on our show as like another kind of like professor or something like that. So we worked together a lot. Yeah, she was great. Yeah.
That is awesome.
What are some like the most memorable moments of that show for you?
Wow. So a lot of the most memorable moments for that show were not on the set, but seeing the reaction of people when they met me. Oh. To see how much Ultraman really means to some of these people. I love the fans. They're way bigger fans than I ever was, and it's just amazing. They're so nice, they're so kind, and now that Ultraman is like expanding around the world, and there's the internet, all these people can now contact me. So like on Instagram, I'll get messages, and I try really hard to write back to everybody because some places in the world, like literally right now, Ultraman Max is the latest Ultraman show that's on the air.
Oh, is that really?
Yeah.
I was 20 years old, really.
So in Indonesia,
yes,
last year, Ultraman Max was on the air. So I am literally on this TV show or a news show from Indonesia streamed, and people are talking to me like I'm like seeing me for the first time, and it's
awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. So I think and there's a little bit of a burden / responsibility to living up to the whatever you call it. It's just such an honor to be Ultraman, to be on the show, and you just want to make sure that all those kids who are the fans, and I was on a kids show before that, so I had a little bit of that, and not being like drunk and stripping off my clothes and public, so I tried really hard not to do that because I tend to. No, I'm just joking. I don't do that at all. But anyway, yeah. So that's was
why you're doing it at the NBA all day.
So wait a second. I assume when you were on the Ultraman show, you weren't doing NBA anymore.
Oh yeah. So this is really interesting. This is where my careers. I had these 2 like simultaneous lives going on. One was this salaryman world, and one was this, actor /
Clark Kent with the Superman, aren't you?
Talent, whatever, doing all this stuff. So
the Kaito with the Ultraman.
Exactly. Yeah, I was. That's good. That's good. Maybe I think I should.
Ladies and gentlemen, what's up?
There we go.
We should do that. Yeah. So, yeah, after the MBA, I kept my career going. I started working for this big Japanese company called Dentsu, which is the biggest ad agency in Japan. And so I was doing digital marketing. So I got into digital marketing, and the whole time I was actually doing these other shows. Now, when Ultraman happened, that was the one time where they said to me, we can't adjust the show's schedule to fit your work schedule. So I actually had to make a huge decision. Do I stop my professional career and go on to this acting thing? And I decided to, because just being on Ultraman was just such a big opportunity.
You can't turn it down.
Yeah. And then after Ultraman, the next year I got married and had a kid.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. And then my wife was like, okay, time to go back to work. And I was like, all right. So yeah, so that kind of went back, and, I was more serious. But, I've been able to continue this other life a little bit more, but this professional life is kind of the main thing, and it all has to do with the money,
the dollars and the cents,
mate.
Put the food on the table.
Yeah,
so how long were you filming Ultraman? So for the duration
1
you
year.
were doing film Ultraman for that year, you literally quit all the office work, the white collar, and just went full into acting.
Yep.
And what's your white collar setup at the moment?
Yeah, so right now I work for this little tiny Japanese company called SoftBank.
Never heard of them.
My God,
Must be really small. Never heard of them.
Yeah. So about 10 years ago, I think part of this sort of like acting career helped me with this, but I got into kind of the content, the other side of the camera, content creation, content strategy, helping creators. So I worked for YouTube for a while.
Oh, really? Wow.
And way back in the day, there was this little beatboxer from Japan by the name of Hikakin.
You said beatboxer, I instantly knew who you're talking about.
So my role at YouTube was to take Asian creators and get them more popular outside of their home country, because they tended to stay inside.
For everyone who doesn't know, Hikakin is like the biggest.
Well, spoiler alert! Come on, let's not skip 10 years ahead.
No, what? No,
I'm joking. It's all good. So Hikakin, he was given to me because I spoke Japanese and he doesn't really speak a lot of English, but we ended up going around the world 2 or 3 times together, doing events, collabs with other YouTubers, brand deals, things like that. And probably the best thing we did, please. The best thing we did was we got on the Asia tour of Aerosmith.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What? Kidding?
Nice.
Wow. What are you doing? What?
So we were down in Singapore, and I was walking. I was there to go to this thing called the Social Star Awards, which was supposed to be like the Academy Awards of social media. It lasted 1 year, and it was
done.
But Hikakin got invited to go down there, and Aerosmith was the guest of the musical guest, performer. And so I was walking down the hall of the backstage or something with my boss at YouTube, a guy named Ben, and we were with the showrunner of the whole thing, and we're talking to him about it. Sean, he's with Hikakin, and he's like, "Hey, do you guys want to meet Stephen Perry?"
Oh, wow.
I'm like, yeah, I really do. And so, because here's his dressing room, let's go say hi. And he walks in and says, "Hey, this is Ben, this is Sean. He's working with Hikakin." And he was like, "Hikakin!" By the way, he's exactly like what you think he is. He is
really nice.
Yes, offstage, he's exactly the same person, right?
Awesome.
So Hikakin, he's a beatboxer. So the best songs of the year, as they were announcing them, he beatboxed all the songs. Wow. So Steven Tyler had just seen Hikakin beatboxing all these things. So it was like fresh top of mind for him. He was like, Hikakin, he's awesome. And I lied through my teeth and said, "Yeah, he's a big fan of yours. You guys should do a collab with him. Walk this way."
Yeah.
They did the Run DMC.
Yes.
Like, yeah, he could beatbox the Run DMC, and you could do it. And it's like, wow, it's a great idea. Why don't you come to rehearsal? And I'm like, okay, great. And so I call Hikakin. "Do you know who Aerosmith is?" "No, never heard of him." "Okay, I'm going to send you a link. You need to listen to this song 100 times tonight and be ready to perform it tomorrow morning."
Wowzers, man.
And so it was great. So they did 3 songs. Great. The third song, they switched just for Hikakin to Walk This Way. Oh, wow. So Hikakin came out before the third song and did a little beatbox spiel, like a couple minutes of that. Crowd erupts, like bigger than any ovation that Aerosmith got that night. And I could just see the Aerosmith guys looking around like, whoa, there's something special. And then, so then he went into, he did his thing, went into the of the starting of Walk This Way, and everyone went crazy again. Yeah. And they said, "Okay, well, we're doing a real concert in Singapore the next night. Why don't you come? We'll do Walk This Way on the encore, and you could come out and do the same thing." This time, 15,000 people went, "Wow!" when Hikakin got out there and did this. So like, okay, you have to come on tour with us.
Oh, mate.
Yes. And so we went all over Asia.
You went on tour with Aerosmith?
Yes.
So can you call up Tyler and be like, hey, what's going on?
He would definitely remember me because the one thing about Aerosmith at this late stage in their career, they were all like off the drugs, no alcohol.
Yeah, they're fathers,
exactly. They're 30-year-old kids are their like personal assistants, running around and stuff like that. So it was fun. They were all, I'm sure they all remember Hikakin. Definitely, for sure.
That's amazing, man.
Again, luck and timing.
Exactly.
But also lying through your teeth.
Luck.
Your teeth.
Lying through your teeth.
Oh,
yeah, great fun. But grasping that opportunity, that second.
Yes. Preparation and timing is luck. That's the thing. We'll say that again. We should put that in chyrons across the bottom. Yes. I don't know if you have the budget to do that.
Luck
yes.
equals preparation plus timing. Neither do I. Do we have a budget? I don't know. What's the budget? Tell us about the budget.
Yes. So anyway, yeah. So that got me. Sorry, this is a really long-winded answer to your question. So that got me into sort of this creative / content producing side, and how to help people become better YouTubers, how to create, because the best thing about the thing that will make you a good YouTuber is to create good content that people want to see. That's like thumbnails and how many minutes and no, start with a good idea, and a repeatable idea that you can, I always tell everyone, if you're going to be a YouTuber, figure out what you want to do and come up with 100 themes of that thing. And if you cannot come up with 100 ideas within that theme, then that's not a good theme. Come up with something else. Find another format. Because you need to be able to allow the audience to know what it is they're going to watch before they click on that thumbnail. Because there is so much out there that they don't want to waste their time on something that's crap. Okay? So you need to let them know. It's a little bit like counterintuitive because YouTube, we found out people know what they're going to watch before they click. And if they don't know what they're going to watch, it deters them from clicking.
Wait, I don't understand. People know what they're going to watch before they click? Please explain.
Yes. What that means is if someone looks at your thumbnail or your description and they have no idea what it's going to be, they're not going to take an adventure. They're not going to waste 10 minutes of their time on something that they have no idea what it's going to be because there's too much of a chance it's going to be bad. But if it's something that they know, okay, this is, hey, this is Ladybeard. I know when I watch his podcast, it's going to be a really interesting show about something cool in Japan, right?
Yep.
So they know. That's what they know.
Okay.
Yeah. And if they don't know that, like if you're all over the place doing different content every time, people are going to be like, I don't know. I don't like this guy.
Don't know what's going on. Yeah, I see.
So you kind of have to have your niche and then keep creating the same kind of content in your niche.
Yes. And different themes on that same format, right? Yeah.
So if you were...
I think you guys have a great format, by the way. Look at this.
Bless you. Thank
Look
you.
at you.
Very kind.
This is great.
Kind.
Yeah. I mean, I checked out your podcast and your YouTube channel.
Thank you.
Thinking I could give some advice, but really, you're doing all the right stuff.
Oh,
it's good.
bless. Thank you.
If there was some advice, what would you tell us?
Well, thumbnails are very important. Okay. You don't want to give everything away in the thumbnail. You want it to be very intriguing. You want people to look at that thumbnail and go, what is that? Ooh, when I watch this, what's going to happen? So make a question, make a vague statement, and don't restate the title in the thumbnail because you have all those words in the title. You don't need to repeat them in that crowded thumbnail.
I see.
Okay.
And always kind of have the same kind of look and feel to the thumbnail. So when they're looking at that page of 100, they look at that, this is the cat with beard. Wait, what is it? Sorry.
Cat with beard.
I got it right.
Cat with beard from Japan.
Yes. This is the Cat with Beard channel, and I watched it last time. It was great. And there's another one. Awesome. And if you can put them up at the same time every week, or I don't know what your frequency is.
Yes, we do.
Yep. You get it up on. So when I'm getting ready to go to bed on Friday night or whatever night, and I turn on my YouTube before I go to sleep, there it is.
I know it's going to be
That's the one. Every Friday night, they're always there for me.
Hang on.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Let's have a round of applause for our amazing producer, Takahashi-san.
Yes.
Who's nailing it.
Thank you so
nailing it. Nailing it.
Good job, Takashi.
Making sure that we're always on time and,
Yes.
and having them thumbnails and everything.
Exactly.
If someone listening or watching is interested in coming to Japan and being an actor in Japan in the way that you were, do you have any particular advice in that department?
Yeah. I'm going to say something that's going to be
controversial?
No.
Oh, say it! Oh, I'm so excited.
Not even controversial, but it's going to be obvious but hard. Learn Japanese.
Yes.
Yep.
That's the most important thing.
Don't come here and expect that people are going to do something special for you. You need to. You are already standing out from the crowd. You need to be doing your best to fit in every way possible. Yes. And as a young person, I understand why that is sort of like anti your whole sense of being at that age. I was kind of like that too. I'm like, I'm not gonna speak keigo, like polite Japanese. I don't care. I'm just gonna speak normal, like I speak to my friends. And
wrong answer.
Then you figure out, oh, wait a minute. I've been speaking keigo to this guy, and I'm getting more jobs now because I'm polite. I say these things that other Japanese people say, and that makes them comfortable. You know, this society is filled with norms, right? Now, I'm not saying you need to become Japanese. I am not one of those foreigners that's going to be, I'm more Japanese than you. But what I do know is what it takes to be a normal person in Japanese society, and you get that to experience. Now, when you choose when to diverge from that line for your own benefit at times, that's a good thing. I mean, obviously, you don't look like a very typical foreigner in Japan.
What are you talking about?
So
I have a very stock standards, frankly.
This normal.
Yes. However, that said, you have a great niche. You are a kind person. You keep yourself within these lines as much as you can, and don't try to go outside. And that's the key, right? And as long as you can do that, and you pick your spots to diverge, right? And when you do it for a really good reason.
Yes.
Yeah. Not just because I'm going to do it. I'm going to be different. You know?
Don't play your gaijin card just to, you know.
Exactly.
You kind of create that kind of personality, but then you still have to abide by a lot of the media rules that exist in Japan. I feel a lot of people don't know how hard it actually is to work in the media industry. And Japanese people have to work like 200% to survive in the media industry. So we can't just roll in with 50% and expect things to happen for us.
It's so interesting because there's kind of, I think, an image of, you know, rock stars and rappers and that kind of thing. And actors in the United States as well who kind of turn up late and they're drunk and, you know, hammered the night before or something.
Oh, you
like,
would
whatever,
not get
man.
called back,
Me. You just, it's over.
You can't do that in Japan. You won't get called back.
It's over.
That's it. They're like, oh, that's your last job for this. Like,
exactly.
All about that. So, Ultraman and then YouTube. And was there anything else we missed?
Yeah. So after that, there's a company called Tastemade from the U.S., which is food content, travel content, beauty content, and they were. I knew them from my time at YouTube because they were making amazingly professional-looking content. Cool. So when I would talk to creators, I would give them like, hey, here's what you should try to emulate, and Tastemade was one of those. So I knew the founders, and they contacted. Well, actually, before that, I should tell you, I left Japan. At one point.
But you had like family and everything?
Yep. I was like, I got a job in LA at an ad agency, and I'm like, done.
See your wife.
Off
you go.
I'm like, I was here. I was like 14 years, and I made it out. Because usually, once you're here for a long time, you're like stuck. So I was like, yes, I got back. I'm living in LA. This is great. But and they pulled me back in with a Amazon Prime Video. Was going to launch in Japan. And I was like, oh, this could be really fun. So I came back working for Amazon to help them launch Prime Video here in Japan.
You're a smart man. Wow. I couldn't launch Prime Video in Japan.
Yeah, I mean, like NBA, NHK, Ultraman,
international business.
YouTube, Amazon Prime.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, that was a... and I'm the only guy that I know that's doing exactly what he studied in university.
Yeah, right.
Marketing and international business. That's me.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
That's very true.
I should have had a minor. If I would have had a minor in drama, then it would have been like
would have been
perfect. Yes.
Wowzers.
Yeah.
I reckon we're probably done for time on this bad boy, yeah?
All right.
This has been fantastic,
Yes,
Sean.
time
Thank you
flew
so much
by.
for coming in, my man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Really nice to spend
Tell
time.
everyone where they can find you on the internet.
All right. So if you want to find me on Instagram, I'm at Sean Nichols, my name, SeanNichols. And on Twitter, I'm at Sean Kuhn, SeanKun. And I'd really like it if you want to check out Ultraman. Go to ultramanconnection.com if you don't live in Japan, because it's geo-blocked for Japan. Your audience is mostly outside Japan, I'm guessing? Or
Yeah, it's in English, so yes, but we have good mix of people.
And if you are in Japan, there's this little thing called a VPN, which you can get, and yes.
Check it out.
Yeah, trick them up. And so check out Ultraman. Learn a little bit about it. Watch some of the shows. Start at the original one from 55 years ago. Watch Max, because then you'll see me. And if you go to the one in
English dub,
how would you get? How do you get the English dub of Max?
For my dub, I actually have no idea. For anyone who somehow missed this, I voiced Shaun White, dubbed Shaun. So yeah, if you can somehow get hold of that, we did it in Hong Kong, so it would have played, I guess, Asia.
Yeah, it was for China. I heard it was for the China market. I don't know, but who knows? I really don't know.
I found a tiny clip of it on YouTube.
Yes.
But yeah, watch Ultraman Max and enjoy Ladybeard voicing Shaun Nichols as Shaun White.
It's like Shaunception right now.
Shaunception. That was a good line. Good job, Cathy Cat. That was good. I liked it. Cathy Cat, where are you on the internet?
Cathy Cat _TV, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, Instagram. No, everything but Facebook, actually. It's good to see you there.
Does anyone use Facebook anymore?
I've got a lot of followers on Facebook. My followers on Facebook send me messages, and it's very pleasant.
Yes. Actually, do you want to know a fun fact about Facebook in Japan?
Oh, tell me.
So one of the things I do is at SoftBank, I bring companies that are in the SoftBank Vision Fund, which is a portfolio of all their companies. One of them is a company that helps YouTubers make money on Facebook.
Ah, cool.
And so we take their YouTube videos and we reformat them and put them on Facebook and then get money from Facebook. Because in Japan right now, there are more ads that need to run on Facebook videos than there are videos to play them on.
Is that right?
So if you make video content, go to Facebook because you will make money.
Wow. Good. I'll remember that because
Yes.
that's what I actually do for work.
I think so too. Is this not on Facebook yet? Takahashi-san!
Let's put it on Facebook.
Facebook.
Bad Book on Facebook.
Let's put it on Facebook.
That's where the dollars and the cents are. The bread.
Fantastic.
Yes.
All right, that's a little bit. Yeah, mentioning that, Cathy Cat _TV. Also, my channel Ask Japanese on YouTube. I should have mentioned that. And Japan Railway Journal and NHK World and Ladybeard.
At Ladybeard _Japan, and also my group at Babybeard _Japan. I'm coming to Portugal May 13, 14, be in Lisbon. I'm not sure if that'll be too late by the time you hear this, but hey! If it's too late by the time you hear this, I was in Portugal. And hey!
How was Portugal?
Oh, it was wonderful, thank you.
I bet.
A glorious time.
It was amazing to have you here.
Yeah, I had a great time.
Thank you
Japan Railway Journals. She's on Japan Railway Journals.
I can't wait to watch that. I didn't know anything about that. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah, Thursday nights.
Okay, cool.
All right, good, guys.
All right.
Let's wrap it
Absolute
up.
pleasure. Thank you so much, Sean
Of course.
Nichols.
Thank you.
I will see you next time on
Cat
with
with
Beard. Auf Wiedersehen.
Cheers.
Bye.